not last week, the week before with Evan Lauti. And I was like, yeah, really cool, calm, casual, collected. Let's get this all sorted and just chilling out before the stream goes live. And I pressed the go live button. In doing so, I realized that one of the multiple, and by this stage, I'd set up like 20 odd windows, 20 odd positions of Chrome, each one under a different Chrome profile. And one of them, at least one of them, I could hear myself on. I'd accidentally left it on the YouTube page that was going to go live for the stream. So as soon as I said, right, we're live, I heard myself in my ears go, we're live. And then a little bit moment later, I went, we're live. And I thought, oh,
it just gets quieter and quieter and more like awful sounding.
And I couldn't say to Evan, I'm sorry, an issue, I need to put this on pause for a moment while I try and resolve, because I knew that everything I said I would hear again a moment later, and so the audience would hear it again a moment later. So, oh boy, yeah, every best laid plan, mice and men, etc. Yeah. Anyway, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this as yet still unnamed show. It used to be Critscast, the Team Fortress 2 podcast. It's still Critscast the something. It's TF2 with on Critscast. I've got to find a better name for this. Seems so devoid of creativity. And considering there are so many creative people in the world, maybe I should ping something up on the internets and ask people for what the show should be called. Tell us in the comments what this show should be called. Anyway, along with myself, there is a perfectly normal human being that goes by the name of Pazer, whose real name I have never known.
Really? You have not been playing enough Team Fortress 2 then, because much of my information is public.
Including your real name?
Yes, my real name is Matt Haney.
Is it? Right, well,
it is.
Matt, do I now refer to you as Matt throughout the entirety of the show? Or should I?
You can refer to me as Matt or Pazer. I don't care.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, I will fall back on Pazer. I have no chance of remembering Matt. The only way that I'm thinking that I'm gonna remember that it's Matt is if I put you in the part of my memory that I'm otherwise reserving for episodes of Friends. Because so far as I'm aware, Matt was one of the guys who played one of the characters. So, if you want me to constantly be mistaking you for an actor, then
that'd be an upgrade.
Would it? I mean,
I think so.
You're a coder at the moment, so is coder greater than actor?
I don't think so.
I thought like actors were last year's actors, and now coders are the new sort of rock stars of the world.
Yeah, I sit in a dark room with a projector projecting code onto my face that I can't read.
Because you're blind, because you're in front of a projector. Yeah, and like you adding an extra hand to your keyboard to make you type faster.
Yeah, I got like 3 keyboards.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, surely that would make you type slower because you've got multiple keyboards. Maybe
no.
Like have your cats walk over them. If you trained your cats, I'm assuming you've got cats as well.
I don't have cats. I'm allergic to cats and dogs.
Lizards. Do you keep any kind of pets?
I don't have pets at all. I'm too busy coding.
Well, there you go. You see, you need to multitask. Devote some of your life towards training an animal to do some of your coding for you.
You're right. I could be so much more productive.
You could. There's a huge opportunity out there for someone, if not you, to be the next creator of codinganimals.com. So while we're on the subject, what is a Pazer and what does one do?
A Pazer goes to school and programs side projects. That's pretty much it.
A Pazer is an animal that lives in the school. So you're talking about the American version of school, which is what we would otherwise in the UK refer to as university.
Yes.
Right.
Or
Okay.
college. Yeah.
College. Okay. Okay.
I
So
just graduated elementary school. I'm super proud of it.
I mean, not as hard, not as proud as your teachers and presumably your parents as well.
Uh,
You're very well spoken for an elementary school students.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, um, so what are you studying at school?
So I'm going to DigiPen, and I'm a senior, and I'm studying I'm getting a bachelor's of science in real-time interactive simulation, which is game engine programming, sort of.
Real-time active
Real-time interactive
interactive
simulation.
simulation.
They don't want to say games because that sounds
Right.
bad to some people.
Okay. It's still like a weird prejudice to get over. Is
Yeah.
there prejudice in outside of school? Is there prejudice in coding circles? I don't know what a coding circle is. I'm imagining a knitting circle, but
I don't think there's a prejudice. And obviously, like, the game development industry is large enough that it's like everybody's aware of it, and it's kind of self-sufficient as far as hiring goes. So, like, I mean, obviously, nobody who's looking for somebody to work on a game is going to be prejudiced against like a school that's training people to work on games.
yeah, obviously. I say obviously like it's the most obvious thing in the world, but it's not at all. Right. While I've got you here, and chat is telling me to kind of get on with it. The reason why you're here now, as opposed to 3 weeks ago, or however long it was ago that I first asked you to come on, is that you've released Team Fortress 2 _bot _detector.
Yes.
Before we go into what it is and how it works and all those kind of like intricacies that I'm sure someone out there is dying to know so they can destroy you from the inside, and we'll get onto that in a bit as well. I thought it might be interesting to have you walk me through installing it. I thought this. I'm not sure whether or not the rest of the world will think this, but let's give it a shot. I've got one of my screens here set up. This one, but there eventually. I've got it set up to show my entire big screen. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I've gone along to your website, your GitHub website, and followed the instructions. If you want to play along at home, it's github.com/PazerOP with capital P, capital O, capital P.
I don't think that capitalization matters.
Do you not? I would assume that it would be some sort of
Does not matter.
Does it not matter? Okay, fair enough. It's just Pazer OP then. I feel deflated. And in there you can find TF2 bot detector, because it's going to be on your page. But if you can't, it's TF2 _bot _detector. And on here there are, scroll down, TF2 bot detector. There's a table of contents. I've got to say your page is very well laid out from the perspective of actually having information on there, like a table of contents.
Thank you. I had very little to do with that.
Did you not? Did someone else come in and do it for you, or
someone else did it for me because they felt bad for me?
Right. That's very kind of them.
That's someone else being cluster consultant.
I see them on the list of contributors here.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much to Cluster Consultant. Any reason why they're not here with us right now? Just not worthy? Okay.
We could invite them.
I did not invite them. Now that I think about that, was can we short notice grab them and add them to the call? Is that not going to be possible? Please say it's not possible. I don't want to delay this any further.
It's not possible. Okay. They're not online, and I'm pretty sure they just went to bed because they work nights.
Okay. Well, Cluster Consultant, whomever you are out there, thank you very much for making Pazer's work seem more accessible. So within this, there's a little bit of instruction on how to download. Let me zoom in a little bit. Appreciate my screen's a bit tiny. So go to the release page, click on the download. See releases page, download. This is the releases page. Okay. Oh, I feel like I'm going around in circles. TF2 bot detector x64. Download that zip file, which I've already done. There's also a message in there about installing a bit of application to allow you to utilize. Oh yeah,
the Microsoft Visual C++ redistributable.
That's the one for Visual Studio 2005, 2017, 2019. Yeah, and also a warning in there saying basically use Windows the x64 software version for almost all PCs.
Yeah,
which is,
there were plans to try and get an installer for this version, but we just didn't have time.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I think your time is probably better utilized in getting things working, and can lean on cluster consultants to make things accessible. Right. So once you've got it, installed the redistribution software, I think there might even be like a reboot during that phase. So I'm glad that that's already taken care of. In fact, I tried running it again just to be certain, and it told me that it was giving me the options to uninstall or to fix, and I thought, well, okay, I'll leave that. It's clearly installed properly. So run tf2 bot detector.exe. Okay, I have unzipped the file. Let me see if I can find what I did with the original. It's in here somewhere. There we go. I have unzipped the files to a folder on my hard drive somewhere. You were saying before we went live that it needs to have access. It needs to have write access to that location.
Yes, which is just like a quirk that will be resolved once there's an installer.
Okay. So basically, if you've expanded it to your my documents, or onto your my program files, then there's a good chance that the application won't have write abilities. So
yeah,
put it somewhere else for the time being. So I've got it on my D drive along with my software for games. And if I double click on the tf2_bot_detector.exe, then I get a little DOS style window coming up. I don't know if people can actually read that, but it's effectively saying there's a checkbox here that says allow internet connectivity. That's pre-ticked. A warning about antivirus, which I will dutifully ignore. And it says this tool can also check for updated functionality and bug fix on startup. Is that new for this version?
It's new compared to 1.0, but it was added. That feature was added pretty quickly after 1.0 was released.
Okay, well, I'm going to click on next. It says Team Fortress 2 must be launched via TF2 bot detector. You can open it by clicking on the button below. Automatically launch TF2 when TF2 bot detector is opened. I'm going to tick that box. And I'm going to click on launch TF2. We will see if my TF2 launches. It's thinking about it. Now, I just realized that I was advertising a password while I was doing that.
That shouldn't matter because as long as you have like a firewall that you haven't allowed everything through,
right,
it should be fine because it also randomizes the port for it.
Well,
so
we can talk about how to install a firewall after this. Oh God, doomed. But now what I'm getting is this is my default with Wiethoofd on there. So this is my default Windows Team Fortress 2 installed. This is how I play in a tiny window on my actual desktop. Fight me, Lan. So now what? Anything? Is it just
now you
running?
can play casual.
So
yeah, it's just running.
There's a window here that I can look at that tells me what's going on. Let's see if I can expand this. I can. Fine. Okay.
Yeah,
it's really do anything for
optimized for
that particular size.
I'd say being like a second monitor kind of thing, just because that's what I have set up. But I mean, it will work without. Even if it's not showing, it'll still work. Like you can just leave it minimized if you just have a single monitor.
I wasn't expecting
yeah.
it to be this straightforward and this easy. So congratulations, well done. You've passed the aggro test, which is more
Excellent.
a case of like, if you can get aggro to be able to use it, then it's easy enough. Yeah, not really an accolade. More like you've passed the dumb person level, and now dumb person is about to use it. What should I expect to see?
So on the left-hand side is just the like chat log of like all the chat messages that are sent in the game. On the top right is a sort of scoreboard, so that'll show all the players that are in your game. And in the bottom right is just log messages for the program itself. So the left-hand side and the top right are blank right now because you're not in a casual game, but if you join a casual game, then those will fill up.
Right, Pazer, I'm going to invite you to my party.
Oh boy. Decline.
Thank you. Right, let's go in and find a random ass casual game. See whether or not this was a good idea, bad idea, or a medium idea. So
I don't know.
Does this mean from now on, when I launch Team Fortress 2, I will need to launch Bot Detector, or I'll need to launch Bot Detector to launch TF2?
If you want to have the bot detector functionality, you need to launch the bot detector and then TF2 through it.
Right.
But if you don't want it, then you can just open TF2 normally, and it will be normal TF2.
Okay, that makes sense. So I haven't intrinsically linked the two together. There's no... I've not broken my Team Fortress 2 in any way having this on here.
Yeah, if you don't use the bot detector, then your Steam account will be instantly deleted.
Okay. Well, that seems... I'm going to have to run TF2 all the time with bot detector. I just have it launched on startup. It's the only safe way.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for the warning. I can't imagine what could have possibly happened if I hadn't asked you.
You could have died.
Oh, but that's a ramping escalation. But again, thanks for the warning.
No problem.
Now I can live. See another day, as long as these days are. Are you getting out much?
A bit. I mean, going on like walks, that kind of thing. Don't really have a whole lot of reason to go outside, but try and make a reason.
I mean, if you don't, you end up sort of inside, and it's one thing. It's one thing to be inside because you want to be here. It's another thing to be inside because you're not allowed out. Like a bad dog. Just wants to go on a walk.
Well, they fixed Virginia servers.
Is that where we've gone to again?
Yeah.
Right,
they were down for a bit because of some like fiber cable cut. Apparently, they were down for CS:GO, Dota, and TF2.
We're in Virginia 1, I think. No, Virginia number 27. Not even worthy of being.
That's my favorite one.
So, I mean, I can, the way that I've got my Windows set up, that you can tell on the screen, I can put my. I can have this sat in another screen, completely, or I can just kind of have it sit on the edge. Is there any good place to put this? What's the most important
on your second monitor? It's not. It's definitely not optimized for its single monitor use, but that is something that I have on the to-do list, because certain things like Windows 10 notifications, like the ones that kind of pop up in the bottom right, those can show over the game in most cases.
Yeah.
So I am going to try and have those set up for, like, hey, there's a cheater in your game and that kind of thing. But for now, I guess the scoreboard on the top right would be considered the most important part of that, because it'll it'll highlight and flash entries where that are for people that are marked as a cheater or suspicious or something like that.
I wasn't expecting to go up against so many pyros, but I guess
Yeah, there are quite a few.
That's very well. So, what would it look like if someone were to come on this server, and for them, those people would be bots? That's a terrible way of phrasing that, but nonetheless.
Basically a row in their row in the scoreboard will flash the color of cheaters. In this case, it's pink, but or magenta. But you can click on the little square in there that's above the scoreboard and change that color if you want to.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
So the color of evil is entirely up to you.
Yes. You could make everything. You could make everything transparent if you wanted. You couldn't see anything. It would be great.
I mean, I don't know why you'd want to, but it's good to know that that's an option.
Hey, user choice.
Yeah, give people all the tools they need to hang themselves. I wish I hadn't phrased it like that, but there we go. It's too late now. So, how much of one of the options when we were installing it was to have it sort of interact with the internet? Does that mean Pazer watches you in your sleep?
Yes. I also have player lists of cheaters that I have personally interacted with and marked as cheaters, and that will download a updated version of that list every time the program is launched. There's also some of the community members that are in the Discord have made their own lists. wget is another one that has pretty much all the actual bots, not the cheaters themselves, not like human cheaters, but the actual bots marked on a big list. And there's a few other lists as well, but the idea is that you won't have to manually go and check for updates for the lists. They'll just be updated automatically every time you open the program.
Right. So it's not clever. It's not doing anything to find out who's cheating by watching how they interact. It's reacting to a set of users that you've configured and a bunch of your trust users.
For the most part, right now. Right. There are a few things that check for things that only cheaters can do, like put new lines in chat and that kind of thing. But since the bot updates that Valve released, where free-to-plays can't talk anymore, that is, those detections aren't very common anymore, because people usually, if they have the ability to, their bots have the ability to chat, then they don't want to use that because they're burning a premium account.
Right.
But in the future, there will be much more involved detections that will actually be able to use the same identification methods that the bots use on each other, so that they don't attack each other. Because they basically send out a broken achievement message that doesn't show up in chat or in the game anywhere, but the bots are looking for that, and they say, oh, if there's this broken achievement message, then I know this is a bot, I won't shoot them. But once I have that detection method set up, I will be able to also tell, like, oh, this person has sent out this broken achievement message, they're a bot, right, and mark them based off that.
Okay. So it's pretty, I mean, from the sounds of things, you're doing everything you're allowed to do at the moment, and with the intent to step it up and make it continually better. But this isn't the first time you've tried to launch this particular facility. You started with, obviously, with version 1, and now on version 1.1. What happened with version 1?
There was a issue with it that allowed people to, well, not people, specifically cheaters, to phrase a message in a certain way that it would appear as if it was coming from another player, which was entirely just due to an oversight on my part.
Right.
But that has been fixed in such a way that chat messages can't be escaped anymore in that same way.
Are you expecting? Because that, I mean, you weren't expecting it, but it seems obvious that those cheeky little buggers that do shit like this would want to do something to screw with code that's screwing with them.
Yeah.
So, how surprised were you when your code was messed with or broken?
I don't know if I would really say I was surprised, because like I think I was definitely kind of annoyed that I had forgotten that.
Right.
Because I had known that it was a potential issue, but I had just slipped my mind before release. And by the time I ended up with a good concrete fix for that, it was already clear that I should just wait for like another major release, in this case 1.1, before actually shipping that, just so that I don't want to like fatigue people with like a bunch of minor updates.
So it wasn't that you didn't have a fix for that, like a semi-immediate fix for it. It's more that you wanted to involve that fix in with a bunch of other changes.
Yeah, I definitely also wanted to make sure that auto update was a thing, because I realized that the amount of people that had downloaded it and never checked for more updates was quite high. So it's much better to just make sure that, like, by default, it will check for updates for them.
And presumably, have you been able to interact with those people who've now? Have you found a way of interacting with the people who have got version 1 and won't know to get version 1.1?
I think due to the fact that the issue with misrepresenting chat messages was fairly widespread, I'm pretty sure that most people, if not everybody who was using 1.1, have stopped using it.
Yeah.
Just on their own. So I'm not too worried about people, and also just the fact that like cheaters are they kind of operate as one group for the most part.
Right.
So like they're kind of done with that that particular like set of chat message spam. So I don't, even if people are using 1.0, I don't think that they're really at risk, so to speak.
Okay. So do you think now, I mean, more than anyone else in the community, at least, possibly not in all of the people who code with Valve, code with Source, etc., but certainly within the community, you stand a good position to know how severe the problem with bots is. Would you say that it's getting worse, getting better? How do you know how bad it is?
Well, here's the thing: is that it does take up resources for people to run bots. The problem is that it doesn't take up that many resources in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's not like they have one bot per computer. They're able to run like usually around 10 or so, I think, is the suggested limit.
Yeah.
For like an average gaming PC. But also, like, the people that are running bots are very determined to just cause problems for people. So they're okay with like sort of expending resources on this just to bother people. But I don't think that it's I don't really think that it's a terrible issue. Like, it's not out of control, because like the amount of people that are actually running bots is fairly low, and there's only roughly, I think, like 150 bots or so, which sounds like a lot, but
no, I mean, I
yeah.
certainly had a perception that, and it has been widely shared that other people have the perception that TF2 is being ruined by bots.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't actually have the data that Valve has, obviously. Yeah.
Um, how how widely downloaded and installed is version 1.0 and
For one,
yeah.
sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say is 1.1 as well downloaded as 1.0 is, and how can we get people to use 1.1?
1.1 is not as widely downloaded as 1.0 was. 1.0, I didn't actually check the downloaded numbers before I moved the download, but I think it was about probably 2,000 to 3,000 downloads. 1.1 is not up there, but yeah, I think that it will end up just growing slowly, just due to the fact that it's like there's some apprehension that people have, I think, based on the fact that 1.0 was not usable for very long. But I think that once like trust sort of comes back, it'll become more popular. But also the thing is that the bot problem isn't nearly as bad as it was, or as obvious as it was when 1.0 was released, because like everybody saw there were Pazer bots everywhere.
Yeah.
And they were all like spamming chat and stuff. And so I think a lot of people are probably have the false impression that like, oh, bots aren't really as much of a problem anymore.
Well, do you think that the solution that Valve came up with then to mute the bots was the right solution, or even a good solution?
It's the right solution for keeping them out of the press about racist bots invading their game.
Shit.
And that's about it.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it really has any other effect, and it was not intended to have any other effect other than stopping bots from spamming the N-word in chat. Of course, note that they did not attempt to filter out N-word or like block new lines from chat messages or anything. Valve's position as far as new lines in chat is that they'll just find a different character, which is not something I particularly agree with, and not something that the bot creators agree with either. They also just think Valve should just block new lines, and that would prevent them from like clearing chat and that kind of thing. But you know,
yeah,
Valves typically have kind of like a relaxed policy about dealing with things. They try not to make changes unless they will absolutely fix the problem.
Right. So, I mean, have you mentioned sort of how the bots work and how you've kind of gone around trying to fix that process. Does that mean that you've installed the bots like the thing? You've installed the various bots that are causing so much turmoil. How do you know that you fixed stuff, or that you're able to detect
I mean, I
them?
usually just go into a game and play. I mean, I don't need to install the bots. What they're doing is pretty simple. It's not like I need to have complex reproduction testing for them.
Right.
And also, I just enjoy playing TF2, so I can like just. It's totally fine to just say, okay, I'm gonna go play TF2 for an hour, and I'll run it as the bots during that, and I'll test the thing that I'm trying to test.
God damn it! Sorry. Just as you said,
So many spies like, hiding outside of our spawn.
I might have to go pyro. That sounds bad, but I'm passing. It's the only way. We've only got 3 pyros as it stands. There's no point. Right. So is this the fix now?
The fix for
bots is to have literally have a third party create systems as workarounds. Is it the correct thing to do for Valve to rely on a third party, or
I don't.
are Valve sort of letting the game down?
I don't think that Valve is relying on me, and I don't think they're probably not even really aware of me as far as this program. So I think it's more just that like whatever Valve has their employees working on, they, as long as they aren't seeing like news articles about like racist bots invading TF2, then they think check, this problem is solved.
Job
Or
done.
solved enough. But I feel like the chat restrictions will probably stay in place for quite a while. It's worth noting that wget, who's one of the people in the bot detector Discord as of 7/11, reminder: I will eat one whole shoe if Valve removes the free-to-play chat and voice command restrictions before 2020 ends. So there is hope that they will remove the restrictions, just so we can see him eat a shoe.
I mean, if nothing else, that would certainly provide visual entertainment for a while.
Yeah,
Yay.
But I think it's just I don't think it's reasonable to have that much expectation of additional work done on this issue.
Oh, well, thank you for doing this, at least. So, I know that, and it has been brought up in chat as well, that you were part of like the group that went down with Uncle Dane and spoke to Valve in person.
Yes. That was several years ago.
That was several years ago. I'm thinking about it. It's coming up to. I remember the inauguration of Trump happening at breakfast during the competition. So yeah, it was 4 years ago. Nearest damn it. I can't remember who you spoke to when you were there, but I remember.
That was John Schoenig.
Is John Jill or is?
Yes.
Okay, good, Jill. I walked into a conversation that you were having with John, and I didn't understand any of it. I'm not going to say that's because it was so high level. Again, I think I've already pointed out that I'm not desperately bright when it comes to these things. So it could have been very low level, and I just didn't get the gist of it. But are you comfortable talking about what you talked with Valve? Have you spoken to them since?
Minimally. I've just a few Steam messages. I mean, I haven't like had any extended discussions with them about TF2 specifically. I think since then we the year after that, Dane and I think it was, I don't remember who else was there. Time, I think. We went back, I think the year after that, and talked with Eric.
Yeah.
But that was more just like a general tour of Valve. I mean, sounds kind of like spoiled to expect them to like spill TF2 secrets to us, but I mean, we didn't really talk about anything related to the game.
I mean,
but yeah, as far as
you asked them whether or not TF2 had a place within Valve in the future.
Well, I mean, it's like you can see like everybody who was working on TF2, like they've got their own little office space and everything. Yeah. And I think we said there were like 15 of them or something like that. But of course, there were a few like Reddit conspiracies about like, I don't care what Dane says he saw, and like how they just like rolled all their desks in there just to look like they were working on stuff just for us. And
yeah,
we always thought that was kind of funny.
That seems like a good, legit theory.
Good use of their time. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I'm sure they've not got better things to be doing with.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as that initial discussion that we had about TF2 with Jill. It was mostly just like talking about like how the community interacts with Valve as far as like expecting certain fixes or kind of trivializing bigger problems and that kind of thing. There wasn't like really any discussion of like long-term changes that were going to be made, and certainly like the bots weren't even really a thing at that point. I don't think.
A couple of years ago now.
So,
I mean, if they were the thing, they certainly weren't a public thing. I certainly
yeah,
weren't as, yeah.
As far as I know, the only real like the primary development of the walkbots, I think they're referred to, is part of a particular cheat that is open source. So they're not. I don't really think there was much private development as far as that. So like as soon as you started seeing them in game, that's kind of just that's when they were being developed. They weren't really available before that. Outside of there were some cheats that had basically you could have like medic bots that would follow you around, but they wouldn't actually play the game to the same extent that the bots do now.
I was going to ask, walk bots was presumably if they're walking around behind you, then that's the origin of the name.
I think walkbots is specifically referring to the bots that do actually play the game entirely themselves, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Right. So you don't know anything more than the rest of us, lay people.
Nope.
And if you did, you weren't
boring,
you're not allowed to tell us, or left to kill us, or one of the other options available.
I'd probably tell you. And then I'd just get killed by Valve. The Valve ninjas.
I mean, when you visited,
take one for the team.
Did you see a change in like the people who were working? Was it like a whole bunch of different nomads that were working at the TF2 office than the year before?
I mean, I'm pretty terrible with like remembering people, so
human faces we don't count.
I probably couldn't tell you. Yeah, but I don't think there was that much of a change between the groups of people, and it certainly seemed that they were about the same size. I think
they haven't grown taller or shorter, changed.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
same number of people, I should say.
Don't need to. It's me being facetious.
It's my job.
What, being facetious?
Being an asshole.
Well, you did so well. Barely any need to compete.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Oh, this is definitely a spy. Not a good kind. Killed by a fish. Karma for you. So we've been playing this game now for a little while, and I haven't had any messages flash up on my screen to tell me that there's a bot being kicked.
Yeah, because there's no bots right now.
Well, the bastards. I mean, when you actually want them to be here, and they're all afraid.
Actually, just a second.
I should change the name of the stream to "We Destroy All Bots. Come watch us live."
Yeah, something really clickbaity.
Yeah. Botty type people in here.
Change it to let's talk TF2 news #VNN.
Oh no!
Just make up stuff.
Yeah, no, I was very tempted to go down that route, but I've got some moles.
Oh,
and
what a shame! You could have been so much more popular.
Indeed, that's how you gain the popular vote. As far as I'm aware, is just to be a complete twat. Conjecture. I'm certainly there's a certain degree of nuance that I'm not aware of involved in the entire process. You're not just famous for the bot, or indeed just for going to Valve, which I think is a possibility that doesn't take any brain requirement at all. I know I've been
primarily famous for being Uncle Dane's friend.
Is that? I don't think you are. I knew of your existence before I was aware that you were a friend of Uncle Dane.
I think you're in the minority.
In fact, it came as quite a shock to discover that he knew who you were and you knew who he... Well, actually, not so much that you knew who he was, but that he had regarded you as a friend. That makes it sound like I think Uncle Dane's a dick, and I don't. He seems like a fairly likable person. Much more so than me. There you go. So how does that, or how did that come about, the relationship with Uncle Dane?
We were on a Highlander team together.
Right,
Specifically one with that was the first Highlander team I think that I played on and he played on. And that was back in season something or other Steel long ago.
That'll be it. Highlander teams stay together.
Thankfully, no, but we ended up just like playing casual fairly frequently after that. And yeah, not that much to it.
Oh, it seems like a good enough reason to me.
Yep.
I'll do this to save my life at the moment. This TF2 thing, complicated. I'll just
Also 90 ping heroes.
Not even that. Even that was too much for me. The reason I was aware of you was the work that you were doing with Casting Essentials, which was...
Yes.
I'm not even certain at the time it was actually even called Casting Essentials. That's...
Probably just status spec.
That's one, yeah.
Something like that.
Are you still involved in Casting Essentials?
My name is on it, but I have not touched it in, I think, over 2 years at this point.
The leading question, I checked the last time you submitted something, and it was, as you say, 2 years ago. Why? First of all, Casting Essentials, for those who don't know, is a series of tools to help casters produce content. Is that close enough?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So, why are you not doing stuff with it? Is it political, personal, just not enough challenge anymore?
I think the main thing is I just got burned out on it, and I'm kind of bad about managing like burnout and projects like that. I mean, I kind of just end up working on something for a long time and working really hard on it, and then I get bored and stop working on it, and I find something else. So I mean, I've had numerous other projects that I've worked on since then, but ones that probably won't have any interest to the TF2 community, just more general programming stuff. But
I mean,
this is the first major TF2 project I think that I've worked on since then.
How useful is it for you as a Cody type individual, someone presumably looking to go into this in a more professional role, to have run something like Casting Essentials in the first place?
I would say it's definitely useful. I mean, like that's one of the things that Valve has said is like something that they look for is people that have actually built something that has users and they've like had that sort of developer client relationship with their users, and like had to like produce updates and prioritize features and that kind of thing. And I think that Valve, I know Valve specifically said that. I mean, I think that pretty much any company would be would consider it a good thing to like have people that have experience having that like kind of relationship with their users, and just in general having experience with like developing software that has like practical use. I mean,
Right.
Nobody wants to be doing like Hello World. I made a calculator for like 5 years.
Was that how long you were working on Essentials? 5 years?
I think I was working on it for probably about maybe a year and a half in total.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm surprised. I thought that you had been involved in that entire thing for much longer.
Well, there are definitely. I mean, I think I took a break in the middle of it for about a year.
Right.
But there was definitely there have definitely been many incarnations of a plugin like that that I have not been involved in. I just had something to do with the most recent incarnation of it, which is
Arguably the
Casting
most useful.
Essentials.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like developing a lot of what I was doing with the Casting Essentials was mostly like rewrites of previous functionality, but actually figuring out that functionality is valuable and implementing the first versions of it. I think I would consider that more work than just rebuilding existing functionality.
It's a dynamite then. Guess I should have seen it coming. So many people running towards me with their guns blazing. I've just seen a spy version of me.
I think he's dead. Well, maybe not.
Never can tell. These bloody spies and their sending deaths. Right, here we go. Respawning. Have another crack at it. Only everything in life is as simple as Team Fortress 2 and respawning and having another crack at it.
You have 5 seconds to impress me.
Okay. Was this the
Time's
time
up.
it takes? Yeah. When I
You ready
stayed
to
alive,
respawn?
that was... I suddenly had notions of some sort of elevator pitch in which I should be telling you about my book that I'm writing.
Tell us about your book that you're writing.
It's about Team Fortress 2 in the modern era and the economy of hats and other
Excellent.
things that
Pre-ordered.
stolen from a TED talk. Yeah.
Wow.
Right, the order's already in. Right, can't cancel that now. Cancel it like it's a Casting Essentials update.
Wow.
I went there.
I did leave it in a bad state.
I mean, you left it in good, capable hands. So that's something.
Yeah. Daleguard is definitely a very intelligent person.
Some might say he's a genius. Certainly he would.
I haven't talked to him that much.
No, he's very, very, very capable human being. Some might argue whether or not he's human, if only for the amount of work that he's capable of doing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got another sale of book in chat. Excellent, thank you. I'm a little bit dubious about the proclamation of free hats for everyone from Crunchy Frog.
Wait, you're not going to back that up?
What, the free hats for everyone? I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a Team Fortress 2 so it's not a Chris endorsed message, but
Oh.
yeah. I do like the idea.
What
of
a
free
disappointment. Give you a free hat right now.
Hats, oh, that'd be very sweet of you. You gotta sign it for
You
me.
have to apply for a mail-in rebate for it to be free, though.
So, what you're saying is they're gonna pay you money, and then...
And then maybe I'll give it back.
We don't have mail-in rebates in the UK. It just doesn't exist.
Oh,
That's
you're
not a
missing
thing.
out.
Yeah.
Think of all the money you could be maybe saving, depending on the manufacturer.
Depending on, like,
Maybe
mail.
saving 3 months later.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such an opportunity wasted. I was watching a thing about, like, the plug-in Honey. It's allegedly supposed to save you loads of money, and right near the end of the video, the guy goes, "Yeah, and if you're trying to do this in the UK, don't bother. There's no such thing as coupons in the UK." So, yeah, that's a shame.
You mean they have to actually advertise the price that they're selling it for?
Yep.
It sounds like you don't have very much freedom over there.
I think we both have to advertise. If it's a non-for trade website, you actually need to advertise the VAT price, the price including tax, as opposed to the price excluding tax. And I think there's rules about advertising prices excluding tax. So it's the amount that you end up paying as opposed to the amount that you think you're paying.
Right.
and or do pay depending on how good your accountant is, assuming you have one.
Keep all your money in the Cayman Islands.
Well, if you're royalty, apparently that's an option. I think the Queen keeps about 10 million or so in the Caymans.
Just for safekeeping.
Well, I mean, you never know when she's going to be ousted and have to resort to living a life in the Caymans. Well, oh wow, I was going to say we got out of there fine as I get shot in the head. Guess not. Do you know what? This entire time I have not thought of why we've been playing on pub servers. Sorry, playing on Valve servers. I've not thought, oh, that person's a cheat. I just got killed by someone. I got headshot by someone. They must be cheating. I have not had to check a single human individual to see like how long they've had their account for, or anything of that nature. That is
it is
weird.
It is definitely like the hour that we're playing at. Like there are so many more like actual players that I don't think I've had this problem when I like need to test stuff too. Like it's 1 p.m. here on the West Coast, so in the US there's a lot of people playing right now, and it's Saturday, so
right.
Finding bots at this hour can be difficult.
When's the witching hour for bots?
Mostly when everybody goes to sleep.
Really?
So like late at night, because the number of bots stays constant. So
but the number of human players
it dips down, and it's like, so
right.
as it gets closer to like 11 I'd say 11 p.m. on the West Coast, then it's really late for like the rest of the US, so there are not many people on, and especially if you're trying to queue in a party, it's bad. But that's also primarily when I end up playing, so
it's not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, so this entire thing is basically just for you.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay. I
mean that's like one of the main reasons one of the ways that I determine like what to prioritize is like what feature I think would help me the most, and in this case it happens to do a good job of also being things that other people like.
I mean, do what makes you happy, I guess.
Yeah.
Or keeps you alive, or keeps you sane. Any of those are options available. Got a question from chat. Yeah, actually, I don't think I've answered or asked. Which is from HeyKHJG. As names go, not one that I can say easily. Question: were these bot vulnerabilities always in the game, or were they caused by updates over the years?
I mean, these have always been in the game. It's just the level of software required to actually like make a program that plays the game for you is not trivial, but it's also not like rocket science. I mean, they're using like the existing nav mesh system that is used for actual TF bots, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But actually getting a bot to play the game for you is a bit of work, and that took a while to actually be developed.
I've just seen a bunch of spam messages going out in chat, and I was wondering whether that, like, is that a bot?
No, it's just somebody pressing a button.
Right.
Generally, the bots are, I mean, at least before the, like, anti-bot updates, they're pretty obvious, because they'll try and pick, like, something that's as offensive as possible.
Right. In a way, the bots were trying to show themselves as bots.
Oh yeah, they're trying to be blatant. I mean, because they don't care about getting banned or anything. Like, they have thousands of Steam accounts at their disposal.
Right.
And honestly, that's like the main issue, I think, is the fact that like it's so trivially easy to generate Steam accounts automatically without like a human actually making them.
Right.
I don't know exactly why that is, but I mean, anything that Valve can do to like auto-identify bots is going to be limited by the fact that they can just make a new Steam account. I'm honestly kind of surprised they haven't switched to making new Steam accounts like for every time they, like every hour or so. But
Yeah.
I guess it's just the same as everything else. Like they don't need to.
What's going to drive them to making that change?
Say that again. Sorry.
So the things that drive normal companies, and by normal I mean companies of Valve size, generally come about as a result of either insanely old money, as in money that's existed since I don't know, oil family type money, or kings and queens, or that sort of thing, or else limited companies, as in shareholders, and with shareholder-led companies, the only priority they have is, obviously, except for staying within the bounds of the law, but the only limitation they have is to please the shareholders, to make money and continuously make money, and they become quite predictable because what they're trying to do is make as much money as humanly possible, or machinely possible. But Valve is unique because it's not old money, it's new money, it's tech money. But at the same time, it's not a publicly shared company. So trying to define what parameters would cause them to want to change up their MO and to try to resolve issues with bots in general isn't ever going to be easy for a layman such as myself to discern. But I don't regard you in the same mold. You're a coder who can have a serious conversation with someone from Valve and not feel imposter syndrome to the highest degree. So with all of that, and possibly the longest question I've ever asked anyone, what is it do you think that it would take Valve or is necessary from Valve to make them want to try and fix the situation we have at the moment with bots?
I think the only thing that will actually fix the issue is, or that will actually motivate them to fix the issue is if bots of this same scope end up happening in at least CS:GO,
Right.
and maybe Dota, but I don't know how possible that is. I don't think it's like Dota's not really a mechanical skilled game, so like making a bot that needs to like understand strategy is obviously going to be like infinitely more difficult than like just having a sniper bot walk around and shoot people in the head.
Right.
But yeah, unless it happens in like CS:GO, I can't really see it ever getting addressed.
So, I mean,
unfortunately,
it's fairly obvious that Valve loves CS:GO from the amount of money that they're willing to throw and thrust in its general direction, and Dota 2 as well. Does that mean they don't love Team Fortress 2?
I don't think that that's fair to say. I think it's just that it's not a priority. And I think that Valve just kind of has like, unless people are actually working on a project, I think that they don't really care about other people's projects. And there's no way, because like just because of the Valve management structure, there isn't kind of the there isn't the same kind of top down like,
yeah,
we need to present this one company, one unified company kind of thing. So like each team is kind of just only concerned about themselves, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way Valve operates. It may have bad effects though.
I don't think the Valve is set up to operate the way that it's currently existing, which is like if Valve was constantly turning over games, the way that they're currently configured would be brilliant. because people would work on a project they were keen and interested in working on, and then when they got bored, they would go and see what other games were being made. But as it turns out, Valve seem to have kind of stopped trying to, well, not necessarily stopped trying to push the boat out, but like they are working on games, but at the same time they've got this sort of residue of 2 utterly massive titles that they would be mad to cease progress on, and a third that is beloved by the community and has a force of people wanting to play that they don't seem desperately keen to be funding. Like, it's not making them enough money to be exciting.
Yeah. Something that was pointed out by Jill is that, like, when we were there that time with you, was that, like, yeah, if Valve was a quote-unquote regular company, I mean, TF2 would have been abandoned long ago, because like it does make them a lot of money, but it's just not like they're definitely not like capitalizing on their IP.
Yeah, like TF2. It's not to say TF2 would have been burnt. It would be on Team Fortress 4 by now, or Team Fortress 6.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and I honestly don't think that would be better for the game in any better for the community, because I don't think that it's healthy. Like when you see a lot of other games like Call of Duty and Battlefield where they have like semi-yearly releases of like new titles, I don't think that's a good way to treat your community.
Yeah,
although it may make a lot of money.
I think Madden is probably the best example of that, where you've got a game that is, by the sheer fact that they are constantly new players on each team, there's an actual requirement for an update each year, an annual update. But at the same time, players aren't satisfied with simply updating a game or buying a game again just because it has new players. New sportsmen. So you end up having to introduce new features that don't really have a place in the game just because it's an expectation
gotta add
of
something
it.
new.
Yeah. So you end up with things that are nothing whatsoever to do with Madden, just because it's got to be there.
Yeah.
So,
I'm calling an airstrike.
Oh wow, okay. Wouldn't a strange escalation?
That's my prediction for the next Madden.
But calling an airstrike at a certain number of touchdowns. I mean, it would make the game more interesting.
Yeah.
So there's non-American players. New demographic they'd be after. Maybe it'll work. Who can say? Have you got any? I mean, you've hinted it to it a couple of times, just in the way that you've said things. Would you like to work for Valve?
I would, but I don't consider that like a current goal, so to speak. It's just something that's like out there. Maybe a life future goal, but I mean, finishing school and getting a job at like a more sort of traditional company is definitely something that I'm working towards right now.
So it's a more of an end game type thing.
Yeah, so to speak.
It's your launching an airstrike.
Yes.
On your own career. Where
that sounds like I'm torpedoing my career.
I was going to say that. Where the missiles are your brain cells, and the airstrike is.
That's quite an analogy.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna let that analogy die in the wind.
All right.
It's probably best for everyone if we didn't spend too much time working on that. Unfortunately, I've started, but I'll let it finish. Right. Oh, I'm gonna win. Anonymous Salt's killed me again. Nature of my life. Speaking of Anonymous Salt killing me, something needs to be done in the ilk of asking you to name a player of the week. Someone who has done something amazing for you personally, or for Team Fortress 2 recently, or over the course of your entire career. Pazer, can you now reveal to us who shall take your last rose, and who is going to be this week's player of the week?
I don't know. I don't know. No, but for real, I think the player of the week should be Critical Flaw.
Whoa,
He's
okay.
in chat right now.
I believe Critical Flaw is in chat right now.
He has done so much work on HUDs. It's just nuts. Like he has not only spent an incredible amount of time and effort developing his own HUD, but he's also in the past updated many other HUDs that had been abandoned and broken by TF2 updates, which is just great because I know me, I love my A HUD, but there's I haven't personally updated this version since 2018, and there's some things that are a bit sad about it. And I'm pretty sure that Critical has updated A HUD as well as many others to fix sort of like long-standing issues with them. It's great.
We've got Uncle Dane in chat right now saying that Shrek HUD, big achievements.
Yes, can we post links here because there's Shrek HUD.
No, go for it. Go mad.
All right.
I say go for it. I have no idea what will happen. It's worth a try. If you get kicked, then you get kicked. Yeah.
This is Shrek HUD. It's important.
As soon as it pops
yeah,
up, I'm going to be clicking on it. Did it not work?
He didn't make it. Did you not see it in there?
I did not see it in there, I'm afraid.
Oh, maybe it got
I tell you what, post it to me and Fots on Discord, and I will post it to the chat. Okay, God. What am I looking at here? Let's just use... Okay, there we go. That's the...
Critical saying that he didn't make this, but I don't think that's the point. The point is that he shared it with me, and that makes him a good person. This is an important achievement for humanity.
Well, I'm so glad that even if Shrek HUD wasn't a thing that he was involved with, I'm glad that I at least get the opportunity to share this with you all now. If I can find this.
My favorite part of it is the background for the low health. Scroll down a bit.
Scroll down a bit. God. Yep. Those are things. They definitely exist. Wow, I feel like I've grown as a human being just being exposed to this. So even though Critical Flaw not in the slightest bit involved in that, he's being recognised now by you and by chat as being a thoroughly wonderful human being.
Yeah, the viewer count's gone up. People love Shrek HUD.
I mean, obviously, that's the reason why it's gone up. Nothing at all to do with Uncle Dane being here. But I'm gonna press the music button so that he can get the full experience of being named Player of the Week. Not sure that this is the first time that he's been named Player of the Week, but certainly the most enjoyable. So here we go. Congratulations, Critical Flaw. You are now this week's Player of the Week.
Woo, yeah! Start the freaking party!
Right. That was quite an experience. I'm sure Critical Flaw has enjoyed every moment of being Player of the Week, and that will last for approximately a week. Until next week.
Approximately.
When we'll have an opportunity to name another Player of the Week. That's the title is very not in the slightest bit misleading. Actually on the nose.
Perfect.
Otherwise we'd have to call it something else. Is this?
Well, does it have to involve legal?
Well, I mean, doesn't everybody have their own legal team now?
trying to get one.
Apparently Shrek HUD is in the works. Shrek HUD for Player of the Week. I mean, if you want to keep it going, then possibly. That's definitely something you could try for.
I still think we needed Maze HUD. We have Raise HUD. I want building Maze all over my screen.
I was thinking more sort of the maze from... I desperately wanted to kill that person by knocking him off the edge. Never got a chance. Oh, life is a shame. From a movie, the like Crystal Maze or some sort of hedge maze, where you have to solve some riddle before it lets you play Team Fortress 2.
That would be an achievement in TF2 scripting.
Yeah, that would definitely be a worthwhile use of somebody's time, if not necessarily yours or anyone that I like. Yeah, I'd not pay for that. But maybe it'll get you a job, and that's the most important thing right now. Are you interning anywhere this year, or are you on your last year of uni? Or?
I am not interning, but I am on my last year, thereabouts.
Have you been approached by multiple companies asking for your skills to be utilized in their honor?
I mean, you could say that. There's always like recruiters going off. That's just kind of standard online job hunting.
Standard MO?
Yeah.
Did a thing. That's surprising. That worked. Oh, we're winning. We're winning, Dad. Oof, never mind. Lasted such a short period of time. I can barely even bring myself to recommending the game. What else are you playing at the moment? Do you still play Team Fortress 2?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you still play TF2? And if you do, or even if you don't, what else keeps your attention?
I definitely do play it regularly, not as much as I once did. Looking at 41 hours past 2 weeks, but
Whew.
I used to be quite a bit higher than that. But now I have, I tend to spend more time like working on projects and that kind of thing. Generally playing in the evenings, but yeah, I definitely do play regularly. As I don't think there's really any other multiplayer games out there that just have the same like kind of gameplay that TF2 has. So,
What would be your perfect game to get people who aren't into Team Fortress 2? What would be the middle game? Is chess a perfect lead up to Team Fortress 2, a perfect introduction, or?
That's a tough one.
Well, nothing but tough ones here.
I
Tough on the dead.
think it would probably be one of the like games. I want to say like I haven't played it that much, but maybe Paladins.
Okay.
Sort of in the same like vein as Overwatch, but there's less of a focus on like ultimates that just like clear the screen, that kind of thing.
Press one key, win game, or
Yeah.
or fill your screen with lights.
Yes. Press Q to headshot 4 people in rapid succession.
Without any real capability or skill. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to ask at least one good question, and that was it. So,
Yeah, the problem though is that like I don't really seek out like games that are like Team Fortress 2. Like most of these are games I play are like Tomb Raider or occasional CS:GO, that kind of thing. My desire for TF2 is already fulfilled by TF2 itself.
so what's the perfect accompanying game then, to wind down or to to build yourself up for a good TF2 sesh, either before or after, depending on what your neutral
I
state is.
guess a game that I would just like completely chill out with is Risk of Rain 2. Great game.
Okay.
Have you played that?
I have not played that. I've heard good things about it, but I've not played it.
You should play it.
I had,
It's a wonderful game to just like kind of turn your brain off a bit, but it also builds up to just like really hectic and chaotic sort of crowd control. Really great.
So we had Evan on a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying Slay the Spire was a good good game.
I haven't played that game.
Yeah, he definitely was bigging it up, and I've heard good things about that one as well. So these are definitely going to be added on my Steam wish list, and hopefully eventually there'll be a sale that'll be good enough to allow me to purchase.
I ended up not spending any money on like the past sale just because I was like, oh, these are good games that I wanted to play at some point. But I'm like, you know what? The past like 2 sales, I bought like 10 games and never played any of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I get that impression that maybe like sales in general have wrecked like my ability to trust sales.
What do you mean by that?
Well, exactly the scenario you spoke of, where you trusted the sale, you bought loads of games, and now you're not going to play them. So I want a sale that only sells to me things that I'm likely to play.
Yeah.
Opposed to things that seem good on paper. Like Soldier. What class do you play?
Sniper, of course.
All
The
time.
dumbest class in the game.
Well, I mean, you don't have to go very far.
Yeah. You also don't have to like fight people.
Yeah.
You just see them and they die.
That's how the clicking head things work.
Unbalanced class.
100%. I mean, I would love to be able to face a sniper sort of on the battlefield as opposed to in their spawn room, but you know, that's the decision you make when you play Pyro, that you're never really going to see your assaultant. It's going to be a shadowy figure.
Been having some fun recently playing the Dragon's Fury. It's because it's also kind of unbalanced, but nobody uses it.
It is somewhat unique. You see one of those being utilized on a server. In fact, out of, should we both go Dragon's Fury? Because I think Dragon's Fury works best and is most overpowered when there is more than one person using it at the same time.
Yeah, that's one situation. Another thing is just if there's an engineer who's trying to build something, and then you just kill him through his sentry because it goes through buildings.
Wow.
Flawless design.
Did not know it did that. You go full jungle now. Happily on. There's no water here, is there?
Hoodoo.
Is there any water in Hoodoo?
There might be, like, through a grate or something. I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. Go hot hand. Never get any hits with this. It's a fun,
Hot hand is
stupid-
just universally awful.
Yeah. Okay, well, Dragon's Fury and hot hand. I've got this, guys. We're definitely going to win. A recommendation from Uncle Dane in chat: Whisk of Rain 2, great, relaxing, and addictive. You've been tempted by the second version of Whisk of Rain?
Risk of Rain 1 was the same like style of game, but it played basically completely different. It was like a 2D side scroller kind of thing. Not side scroller, but just like a 2D kind of like arena-esque game.
Right.
Same basic mechanics, but I mean they made a complete transition to 3D third person for Risk of Rain 2, and I'd say they nail it.
The difference between sort of Terraria and Minecraft. Not obviously the only difference, but
Yeah.
that kind of
Same kind of thing.
transitional process.
Yeah.
Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I'd written down a bunch of questions. Oh, sentry gun. Try and kill a sentry. Oh, it works.
Ow, I've been headshot.
Have you? I'm sorry, I'll try and avenge your death. Oh,
I'm not dead.
headshots.
I just stood next to our medic and he didn't heal me.
Well, I tried to avenge your death, but obviously that wasn't going to happen because you weren't dead. So I feel like I wasted a life there. Oh, no. Also a headshot. Intense 24. Definitely guarding those doors. Don't think we stand a
Campaign is
chance.
intense.
Yeah. Gonna quickly check and make sure. So if Intense was indeed a cheatsy type of bot, they would have shown up in purple or pink or something on my screen. Is it the case? Cheater.
If they
Sure.
have been somebody who has marked before, because either I have encountered them or you are using a third-party list that has them marked. The problem, though, of course, is that just like I don't ever really play on Virginia servers because I don't get matched here. So
Right.
I'm only able to provide the official list for like West Coast.
Oh, okay. So how do
At least for bots, though, it generally covers a larger area because the bots have extremely high ping and are and usually end up get matched in many different locations, not just like a single data center or anything.
Well, that's an insane distance. Good grief, this gun is overpowered as hell. Oh yeah, crits. That's going to make it so much better. Good grief.
Are you having
Well,
fun?
I feel like I'm trolling now with this gun. Go for another swipe. Ah, have some fire. You in the fire. You in the fire. You in the fire. You blow
Bro,
your
is that
fire
you?
out. Wait, are we not on the same team?
And I said, Oprah, is that you?
Oh. Oh, I see. I get the reference now. I'm sorry, I'm a bit slow today. This is
It was not a very enthusiastic joke either.
well, I mean, 3/10 of the humour is in the delivery, so
3/10. So scientific proof.
I was going to say 1.5/5, but I figured that would be very difficult to translate.
High energy comedy. Yes.
Middle energy comedy. Laugh every minute or so.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
Give or take 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're not very good streamers. We need to have lots of crazy reactions and extra loud laughs.
I don't. Entirely true.
No, that's how you become a good streamer. You
Needs to be
just
sincere.
become a fake person.
Or children's entertainer. I always figured that was...
I mean, if you're specifically like targeting young children, then I think that's different.
I think the not necessarily the mentality, but certainly the thing that you were speaking of before, the kind of over the topness, or the burst of energy required to be a children's entertainer, would almost inevitably result in a personality that would be great at pleasing crowds of people who aren't actually there.
Yeah, that's true.
The fortitude of the forgotten streamers.
Start a hype train and watch it get derailed.
Do hype trains exist on YouTube? Don't know. That's a question for the age. Obviously not this age.
Uncle Dane face reveal hype train.
Do people not know what it looks like?
I don't know. That was a joke. And there's like an engineer face reveal. Starting a rave at a retirement home.
Watching them all die like flies. Keel over, holding onto their chests. Can you really clap if
Too
one
much
hand is
excitement.
being used to clasp your no longer beating heart? I laughed so hard, I died.
Tragic. That's an awful image. Clap your dentures together. Thank you, Critical.
Is it too late to remove Player of the Week?
Unfunny joke. Get out.
Tried. Tried.
Oh. Just got random crit. Speaking of, if you don't like random crits, you should play on Uncle Topia. Am I allowed to plug
Oh,
servers or am I going to be banned?
Of course you can. I'm allowed to kick you. No joking allowed. I'll have you know it's very serious business, this. What is Uncle Topia then?
Uncle Topia is Uncle Dane's TF2 servers.
Really?
There's no random crits, no random weapon spread,
Damn.
and normal maps. No dumb plugins.
You, one of your things is on your GitHub is Dane Web.
Yes,
Presumably that's something
I
related.
have had minimal involvement with Uncle Topia servers and his website. The main reason I have that is just because I was fixing a single specific thing. Yeah, it was just a pull request. But Roto and John have been doing most of the work for Wiethoofd and the website. It's come out really well.
I have not seen it. What's the URL?
UncleDane.com.
UncleDane.com.
There was a brief and wonderful period where somebody else had made like a sort of basic WordPress site for Dane, and he had taken it and like just made the theme really awful. He had like just random like it looked like he was like trying to promote his Minecraft server or something. I don't know if I have any screenshots of it.
Hi, I'm Uncle Dane. That's it. Discord, YouTube, various places to Uncle to Dane. Media, music. Thing you can click on. Is there any secret Easter eggs on here? Open source?
There's one, but I feel like revealing it would ruin the joke. People need to feel special if they find it.
Okay. Alright. Well, I'll go through the code with a fine tooth comb. And probably find it about as easily as I found the website in the first place. Is to say, several years later. Is there anything else that you're involved in? Looking at your site, there's DemoLib2, which again has been fairly responsive towards what's the other one? There's an ImGUI code.
Yeah, that's the GUI that I'm using for the bot detector. That's something that's it's used very commonly for like games where you need like a debug UI and that kind of stuff, because it's just really simple to get up and running, and has a lot of like sort of built-in things for editors and that kind of thing. Like you can basically just say like, all right, I want like a button here or a checkbox here, and as long as you're not trying to do something like super involved with it, it's like you're not going to make any like, award-winning UIs with it. But if you just want a UI that's function over form, then it's definitely a great tool for that.
Function over form.
Which is exactly what I was aiming for with bot detector. I didn't want to every single time that I try and make like a UI, like a program that has a UI, I just end up like caught up in the details, and it never goes anywhere because like I try and like fix something that's wrong with the UI.
Okay, last question. Not gonna be a good one. So don't get your hopes built up. How would I, as a mere human in this world of Team Fortress 2, get involved in identifying bots?
Well, unfortunately, I cannot accept like submissions of bots or cheaters
Right.
through like from other people, just because it's not it would be too easily abusable.
I was going to say, how do I add all the snipers that I see playing games?
Well, you can right click on people in the scoreboard in the tool and
Right.
mark them as a cheater or suspicious or whatever, but that only affects you.
Right.
You can also, there are ways to make your own like player list that you can share with other people. But in practice, there just hasn't been a real need for that. Almost all of the bots are covered by wget's list, which is how to install that, and everything is listed in the customization section on the wiki. But yeah, so I mean, pretty much all the bots are identified. It's just the fact that people need to use the tool to vote kick them automatically is the main thing.
I'm now that I'm doing this, I just realised that there's somebody's put a bad word in chat. Hopefully, when I go full screen, people don't get offended by it. There we go. So I've noticed that a function that exists within this is if I right click on a name, then there's an option to go to Steam Community, logs.tf, RGL, Steam Rep, and UGC League.
Yes.
If I, for example, choose Steam Rep, will it go to their page on Steam Rep?
You can add other sites to that list as well. There just isn't a UI for it yet, but there's a list of them in the settings.json file under CFG.
Right, and there's a thing for settings. What is good here? What should I be playing with?
Most of those are for people that have like specific like those are mostly just like people that have requested features or specific functionality that I did not think was a good choice to have as default. So that's where they can turn that on. But all of the defaults should be good there.
Cool.
And like the override stuff is just if for some reason the automatic detection of like what your Steam ID is or what your or where your game is installed is wrong for some reason, then you could specify it there.
Oh, I see. Excellent. Yep. Oh, if like me, you have multiple copies of Team Fortress 2 installed,
That for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, let's not go into that too much.
One for each of the bots that you're running, I'm sure.
So let's go into that too much. Yep.
Exposed.
Oh. And there's a button here to go about TF2 bot detector. which gives us opportunities to. There it is, Matt Pazer. A.
Yes. Correct.
Yes, like the artwork icon by. Oh, but there's an icon. There is. Top left hand corner. There's an icon.
Yeah, it's the same icon that's in the like README.
Right. Of a engineer with a hammer on his head.
Yes.
Being destroyed. Excellent. Well, I've got about as much as I can possibly ever hope to have from you. Not just in terms of finding out about this particular edition of the detector. I've discussed with you before the show that you're alive and that your family's still well.
Yes.
And that you have not been bumped off by...
Not infected yet.
Yep.
There's still time.
There is still
This
time.
is America after all.
Well, I've heard that there's when you get done with the first wave, you've got a second wave to look forward to.
I'm not sure we're done with the first wave.
You are not even slightly. It's unfortunate.
We're too busy having freedom.
It's overrated. Vive la vision. Right. What should I have asked you that I clearly am not a good enough host to do?
Mission begins in 10
User. Don't let me down now.
I don't know. I don't know.
Come on. It's the tough questions.
The tough question is ask me to come up with a question.
Yeah, still. Go until you come up with a question.
I don't know. I'm terrible.
You mentioned that Valve isn't going to be like your first choice, or even like chapter 1 of your career. Who would you like to work with or for?
I mean, I'm pretty open about. I mean, I'm not very picky about that. I think it's like a lot of companies have the same like sort of benefits and for experience and the same kind of problems. I mean, there's always like accusations of like game companies like kind of having ridiculous crunch time and that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know, like I guess if I had to pick a single company, I guess CD Projekt Red. They're always doing something interesting, and they always have like a really strong focus on like quality, and they're generally in good relations with their communities.
That's a good one. Presumably the desire to be part of the Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever comes out of that is playing into that decision.
I am looking forward to that game, but I mean, I would say my interest in them probably has more to do with the fact that they're still doing their kind of own thing. They're not really, even though they're kind of a smaller player as far as like number of games. Like EA, it's reasonable for them to like go all in on their own engine and stuff like that. But because I mean, they're releasing who knows how many games every year that all use Frostbite, and that's understandable. That they wouldn't want to go with like a engine like Unreal or something. But CD Projekt Red, they only release like a game every, 3 or 4 years or something like that. Yeah, and that's unique for them to go for, kind of like their own engine that pushes hardware and graphics and that kind of thing. Because I'm definitely into the like sort of engine design and programming side of things more so than the like, gameplay design and that side of game development.
We've got a question from Critical Floor in chat, who's obviously this week's Player of the Week. He's asking you if you would augment any part of your body, and if so, which one? Presumably he means which part as opposed to which body.
I mean, I guess my brain. I don't know. Depends on what augment means here.
Enhancement?
I don't really have a particular interest in just like
Make it bigger?
being really strong or something.
Or would you like to have a big head?
Maybe a big brain. I don't know, a big head.
An ordinary sized brain, but a huge head.
Yeah, just a huge skull.
It's insanely massive, like something from a children's cartoon. Really kind of scare the grandkids.
Uncle Dane, ask him what his opinion is. Yeah, gun to your head. What do you do?
What opinion on what?
Nothing.
I only see the message from Uncle Dane asking what his opinion was.
He just wants to know what my opinion is.
I mean, he can ask you at his own time, I guess.
I guess he could.
Presumably, you guys still talk.
We're not on speaking terms.
It's a shame. I heard he's a good guy, but I guess I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Are you a good guy?
I'd like to think so.
Okay. I mean, would you know if you weren't?
I would hope so.
Become quite stupid. Right. I think I'm done with you.
Pazer said, "What's up?" All right.
Okay.
Well, it was fun to be on the show. Fun to
was
talk to you.
a pleasure having you on. I'm very glad that we waited until you were done and we had something to talk about.
And then there were no bots.
And then there were no bots. But I mean, that's good though. I mean, I'd rather we had nothing to talk about because there were no bots than we had something to talk about because there were too many.
I guess.
I'm just kind of hiding out under here, waiting for a good moment. And
I'm just reading Critical's apocalyptic description of what happened after our Highlighter team disbanded. Alcoholics everywhere, he says.
Oof. Oh, good. Far too focused on the joy of setting people on fire than what I should be focused on, which is my guest today, who has been Pazer, otherwise known as former actor from Friends, Matt. He has another name as well, but it's just a surname. It's not as important as Pazer. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for bringing all your friends as well. They are most welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And any last promotions you want to give? Any shout outs or humans that you are in love with but can find no better place to tell them?
I would say, even if there's one person in your like friend group who uses the bot detector, it's still worth having multiple people run it. So go ahead and download it.
Excellent. Well, I was going to say the links will be in the show notes. We don't do those anymore, so I guess just go along to your Twitter, which is @Pazer from Zero.
From Silver.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about Rezo for some reason. Pazer from Silver is the tweet person to follow. And while I go and reset my brain and hopefully regain the ability to talk, thank you once again. And thank you to everybody who has joined us on this emotional roller coaster that is Pritzcast, the show thingy that still has no proper title, playing TF2 with. We'll see you next time. Yeah, everyone. Da 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 dun da dum. Ba 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 ba.
We lost.